My name is Peggy Cameron. I live in Seattle, Washington. I was a school teacher when I was young, and now I am a grandmother of 6 grandchildren.
Hello.
10 years ago, I was diagnosed with lung cancer.
Dr. L.C.A.
I had fallen. I had fainted, which was an unusual happening for me. Friends encouraged me to go see my internist. He had taken an X-ray of my chest in 1991, and when I came in, when I had fainted, he said, well, let's start with an X-ray and some blood work. And because of the early baseline X-ray and the comparison of the two, they found a stage 2 lung cancer, which was in my left lung, and it had already been in the lining of the lung. But since it hadn't gotten out, they did thoracoscopic lung surgery. And here I am 10 years later. Thoracic lung surgery is non-invasive surgery. And you're really fortunate if you can have thoracic lung surgery rather than the more typical lung surgery. I only have a 3-inch scar under my left arm. I have a camera hole in my back. And I was, as I said, I was out of the hospital in 3 days. And I went to my 50th high school reunion 9 days later. And the recovery was truly incidental. It was not a large problem at all to walk straight ahead in my life and go forward. I just put on my running suit and went straight ahead with life. It was a privilege to be alive, and it was a privilege not to have had an involved recovery. In fact, I really, at the time, did not know how fortunate I was. And now I know. I think it's really important that you explore and consult, because there are different things available for people with lung cancer. And if you're lucky enough, the thoracoscopic lung surgery is far less invasive, and that is why I had such a quick recovery, was because I happened to be chosen, or appropriately chosen, to be able to have the thoracoscopic lung surgery, which I would recommend if it's possible for you. When I started really gaining knowledge about lung cancer, that has changed my life considerably. Not until 3 years later did I find out that there's only a 15% survival rate. I'm almost glad I didn't know that early on. But then in about 3 years ago, Dana Reeve died. And someone said, and Dana Reeve had never smoked, but she had been exposed to a good deal of secondhand smoke because she sang in nightclubs. And when someone said, well, why don't you ever hear about lung cancer? And the reason was that there aren't very many survivors. And so we who have survived need to do something. Our hospital here, Swedish Hospital, was putting on a lung cancer awareness program a year ago in November. And the woman who is the head of the Lung Cancer Alliance is Lori Fenton. And she was coming to speak. And so I invited her for lunch. And she is a very dynamic woman and highly impassioned about lung cancer and beating lung cancer and what we can do, how we can help, and what we can do to beat this really nasty disease that is totally underfunded. The research for it is underfunded, and people don't know about lung cancer. When you say you have lung cancer, they ask you if you smoked, and what they're saying, well, you did it yourself. Well, no one deserves to die of lung cancer. Early detection could increase the survival rate of lung cancer possibly by 80%. So getting scans is, in my opinion, the best thing you can do to survive lung cancer. And you should encourage anyone who has been exposed to secondhand smoke a great deal of their life, if they've smoked more than just a short time of their life, and if they feel they have a genetic predisposition for lung cancer. They should be getting scans once a year, low-dose CAT scans, that are read by people who are trained to do so. Go to the Lung Cancer Alliance site on your internet. Go to the L.C.A site, which is the International Early Lung Cancer Action Program. There's wonderful information there when you go to the L.C.A. Get involved with people in your city who are interested in lung cancer awareness, and tell people, talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about lung cancer. We want to become as prominent as pink is today for breast cancer. Breast cancer has an 88% survival rate for 5 years now. Look what they've done. And lung cancer has a 15% survival rate. So we need a lot more people to talk about lung cancer. The most important thing that people need to know about lung cancer is that early detection is the only cure. So, find out how you can be scanned. Scanned with low-dose CAT scans is the best way of doing it, and read by those who have been trained to read those CAT scans. If you can't do that, get a baseline X-ray and have someone look at that carefully and get one every year. But the best is a low-dose CAT scan. A patient needs to be proactive with their physician. They need to ask all the questions and not feel responsible for getting this disease. You need to get your physician to offer you all the options. And I think there are a lot of trials out there as well today that after you have been diagnosed and after you have been treated, don't give up. Go forward and keep walking, and find ways, be brave enough to get in some of the trials. Look and see what the trials are and educate yourself. Be involved with your disease. Don't go home and hide.